Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Lee Whitaker here at the Ashby Golf Resort, and today starts a winter coaching series that I'm doing with one of you guys, a subscriber of this channel, who's kindly agreed to come down for the next 6 months to enter a coaching series. Now this coaching series is sponsored by ShotScope, and at the end of this video I'm going to give all of you a chance to win your very own V3 ShotScope, but you must stay till the end to find out how you can win that. With that in mind, the basis of this coaching series is based around data. Although there will be aspects of swing changes, grip changes, whatever it might be, the basis around it is what his data says on ShotScope now, and using that data to try and improve him to be able to lower his handicap. So at some point in this video we'll go through his data on his ShotScope app and look at where we can make improvements. So the person who's come down today plays off
18.1.
18.1 currently. This is a 6-month series. There'll be 2 videos a month, so there's going to be 12 lessons within this series, and we're going to try and, what's your target? What do you reckon you're going to get to?
Let's get out of the teens. Let's make that the target. And I think getting down to single figures is probably taking the piss.
In 6 months, like, off his head.
Watch for on YouTube.
You'll be lucky if you get to 17. So the guy, obviously speaking off camera, is Miles. Come in, Miles.
Watch it.
So Miles has been down before, and Miles was a guy who won the Wedge giveaway. It wasn't giveaway, it's more a raffle.
Yeah.
And came down and got fitted for his wedges, and then since then we've just become really good friends, so I invited him down to do this series with me. From that fitting, there was aspects that we need to look at. Wedges. But what would you say is your biggest flaw in your golf game at the moment?
I mean, in general, it's consistency. So if I'm hitting well off the tee, then it can go well. But the consistency off the tee there, but particularly with approach shots and irons, it feels like I can hit a good tee shot and then still not get the outcome on the hole I want because I've pumped my iron 20 yards right at the green into a bush. That's a regular
Welcome
problem.
to my world. So consistent, I mean, everybody says consistency, and that's, you do any lesson or speak to everyone, it's always consistency. It's the same with me. But what we're going to do today is I always start a coaching plan or a coaching series with an assessment. And what that would mean to anyone who came here for coaching with me, it's a 30-minute free assessment where I get you to hit a series of shots and I look at your game, and then we discuss where I think we can make improvements on that.
Sounds good.
But we're different. We're going to incorporate your ShotScope data as well at the same time. So big thank you to ShotScope for sponsoring this series. They have been brilliant, and there will be giveaways running through it, like I said. But the first thing we need to do is get you hitting some balls and assess where we think you're losing shots.
God help us all.
Right, Miles, I've asked you to get your wedges out because that's where we're going to start this assessment. So I've loaded up a hole, and I know it's indoors, but I just want to get an idea of where you are. So I'm going to give you yardages, and you're going to pick a wedge out and try and hit that yardage. So it will be 100 yards and in. And I just want to assess where your short game's at to start with. All right.
Sounds good.
From there, we'll go to approach shots. So I'll do different yardages, and then after that, we'll just get the driver out and see where that's going. And then that gives me an idea of where you're losing shots, or where I think we can at least make some really quick gains to get that handicap down, and then give you some long-term things to work on at the same time.
Sounds like a plan.
Right, first yardage, 67, and I'm just looking at how you approach this type of shot, and then looking at the final result as well. All right, so let's go with 67 to start with. What are we going to hit?
Probably 52 gap wedge, and probably try and put a 3/4 swing on it and get it out there. So let's see what happens with that.
Let's do it. Okay, coming in, and that's gone 91 yards. Good shot.
If it was 91 yards.
You're not going to be short of the green on that, are you? Okay, let's move on to another yardage. Right, so we've hit a couple of, I'm not going to video every shot, but now I'll give you 36 yards. So what are your options here?
Well, I can either bump and run it up, but looking at what you got there, it's got a bunker there, so this would be a 58 for me, and trying to get it up near the pin and stop it. Okay,
I'm just going to put that on the screen now, what that shot is. That bunker should not even be a consideration. Remotely a consideration. It's too far right.
You're suggesting I'm more accurate than I am.
But it's just something you need to look at, is it's not in the way, so it's not there. Don't look at it and go, oh God, if I
drop it in there,
shank this or whatever, because that's what you'll do.
Yeah.
If you just think, well, that bunker's not, even if you bump and run it, it's not in play.
Yeah.
So just take it out your head. completely. All right, right. So 36 yards. What we're going to try?
I'll stick with the 58 because I've picked it up now. But if that doesn't work, then we can have another go at it with the bump and run. See
All
what
right.
we get.
Okay.
This will be a little half swing.
And that's probably gone about 70 yards. Oh, it's hit a tree and gone 58.
Don't know my own power at the moment.
You're either massive or I think wedges is somewhere we need to start. Right, we'll hit a couple more and then we'll move on to approaches. Right, wedges clearly need work because you are either Bryson DeChambeau with them or you've got the touch of a baby elephant. So definitely someone to work on. Now we're going to have a look at your approach play. So I'm going to give you yardages from 100 out, probably from about 130 out because I want you to do full shots. And we're going to see what the tendencies are and see if I can spot anything within your swing as to what could possibly help that as well. All right?
Many things, I imagine.
So I'm going to start you off with a bit of a tricky one. So we've got 184 yards to start with. All right? You've seen from your wedge shots that on this green, it's quite bouncy. So I kind of want you to land it about 175.
Okay.
All right? So what you're going to hit.
So I would either go full 5 or I've got a hybrid which I'd hit. So I'll probably hit a smooth hybrid and see if I can get that. But that's sorry, that would be for the 180. So actually, yeah, probably a 5 would be the right
Okay,
answer.
let's go for it.
Pushed it. Didn't get full enough, the 5.
Okay, so let's have another go at that. Better strike.
Got my alignment right.
Yep. You take that from 180 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try some more. Right, so we've hit some shots with the 5 iron and the 9 iron, and something that became apparent to me is I think you're producing too much loft, or by the yardages you're getting, I think you're getting too much loft. So we've dotted up your 7 iron, and I've put you at 7 iron yardage for you because I want to see what launch angle the ball's getting compared to the loft you're producing, looking at your path a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So it gives me something to be able to work with. It's all right getting the yardages and seeing it, but now with the face dotted up, I get the actual data to try and back up what I think is happening. So let's hit a few with that 7 iron. There is a pattern occurring though, and that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, although I've been having a problem with hooks flicking their hands, but maybe it's trying to fix that, so I don't know.
Okay,
Let's give it another go.
Keep going. Bit straighter, but a bit of the ground first.
Yeah, a bit duffy.
Yeah. You take it as a result there.
Classic bad shot that you think's a good shot.
The bad shots always go straight though. Fats and thins always go straight, I found. Better strike.
That's the one. It's a little bit right though.
So you still take it. Okay, that's given me the data I need with the club. But before we move on to driver, because I'll probably lose the data, we're going to put the data in the corner here for everyone to see. So launch angle is on average 21.5. Over those 3 shots I know. Spin is okay at 5.6, but I think the launch angle is possibly a little bit too high for you. So what degrees is your 7 iron loft wise?
Pass. But
So is it HMB? You probably, so it's a Mizuno quite, so it's probably around about the 33, let's say 32 max loft. I will look it up. I'd want to see you at around 18 to 19 launch. So that says to me that there's a possibility you're having a little bit of a flick of the hands when you're coming through impact. And that's kind of agreed when we look at the club loft. So we look at the club loft, on average, it's 34 degrees of like dynamic loft that you're presenting at club, and it's too much. And there's one there at 38. So for me, there's definitely a flick going on. You are hitting down on it, but only by 1.5 degrees. I'd like to see that a little bit closer to 3, maybe even 4. Club path 2.9 into out, it's not bad. Something I'm working on, it's quite comparable. And face to path is 1.6 degrees closed, but it's interesting that you still put out right. So could be an alignment issue that we could need to look at as well. Definitely things to look at. And I think controlling loft is going to be one of those things that will become a lesson at some point as well. Right, let's get the driver out and then let's see what this is up to. So we moved on to driver, and what we're going to do is I'll put a fairway out there, as you can see on the screen. Loads of room, not. But I want to see what your sort of fairway accuracy is. So we're going to get 5 or 6 drives. And I think this will probably be backed up by, I mean, I've not looked at it yet, but it'll probably be backed up by your shot scope data of where your misses are and fairways in regulation, things like that, which we'll look at the end of this assessment. So let's hit 6 drives and see where they go. Well, done. Driving completed.
That's not the normal.
Look at that. That was in the centre of the face. You're driving God. You need to give me a lesson.
First time that's happened in about 2 years.
And then one missing to the right. Luckily there's no danger on this hole, but it's only just off the right.
Horrible one.
So would you say that you're quite consistent? If you were to put your game into thirds off the tee, like you're a third left, a third right, and a third on the fairway?
Yeah, I can push and pull off these. You know,
so what we're going to try and do over this series is try and get you a miss. Not you don't want to miss, but one that you can play with, rather than like you hit the ball and you've got no idea where it's going.
Yeah, the shot shape on the good one there is a nice draw, and that and the hook are less destructive for me than when I push it, or obviously if I lose the face.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I could be knowing that aim up the right and it'll come back in on a bad shot, that would be great. I'm not in that place at the moment.
No, that's fine.
Left as well.
Yeah, but it's a straight shot. It's just alignment on that one, I think. Okay.
Last one.
Right, last one. Let's think about this one and replay that first shot. There you go. I should just talk to you when you play golf. It's literally an instant replay. Right, let's look at the data on these and see what's if there's an obvious reason. But I think we can see the obvious reason is that you have used all of that face. Right, so looking at this screen, and the guys can see it in the bottom corner, the obvious issue is the heel. Okay, so that's something we need to try and get that strike move more into the centre. The path 6.1 into out, a little bit too much, so if we can neutralise that a little bit more, then you'll probably find your strike good. Your strike becomes better. Hitting up on it 5.8, it's not bad. I'd like to see it nearer to 4, so it goes more forward than up. But a launch angle of 13 is pretty good. 12 to 14 is where I'd want the launch angle to be at. And backspin on that shot was 2000, which is ideal. But if we look at the averages, now the averages show an average backspin of 19, but you thinned a couple, which isn't really great. Your average path is 5.1 into out, and the face is 0.5 close. The face to path isn't bad, but it's the fact that because you're coming so far into out, if you close the face too much, that's where the duck hook's coming in. So we need to really try and neutralise that strike a little bit more. For me, driver needs some work in the aspect of we need to neutralise path a bit more, and we need to find out where you're try and get you a miss that's you can work with. At the minute, we can't work with it. It's a case of aim down the middle and hope it goes down the middle. Whereas if you know your miss is left, you can always aim down the right knowing it's come back, or vice versa. It's something that at least having one miss, there will be times it'll go out right. It happens to everyone, but we're looking at percentages here. So driver, definitely areas to improve on and look at. Right, so this is, I've got you to log into your shot scope on here. Looking at your scores, 17, 15, 21. So you are +5.
Half.
Oh, half. What's that?
17, 17. Home course, 9 holes.
Okay, so if we look at the bottom here, and people who have got the ShotScope app, you've got this on the app, but you can also log in on the computer, which gives you a far more in-depth aspect look at your stats. But we're going to look at it on here for now. So we'll start with the tee shots, exactly as predicted. basically a third, a third, a third. That says to me, you literally have no idea where the ball's going. It's either going to go straight, it's going to go left, it's going to go right. You don't know a miss. You just aim down the middle and hope for the best. Whereas for me, when I'm driving, I know my miss is predominantly left, so I'll aim down the right and hope it snap hooks. As opposed, longest drive, 301 yards. So your strokes gain to a 15 handicap. It's actually a gain, and I think that's more distance based than accuracy based. Because if we look at sort of average distances for an 18 handicap, you're probably looking at 220, 230 with the driver, whereas your average is in the 260s if we go back. So average yardage 260, which is, you know, you've got the speed. So strokes gained is fine, but we want to be getting it more in play, because I think if we look at your approach shots and do it by lie, then we will see that you average out the fairway is the highest part. Obviously off the tee is the highest average that you'll get green success, but it's always fairway, fairway. Interestingly, from 150, it's borderline the same with the rough, but 35% to 23%, the more time you're in the fairway, the more chance you've got of hitting the green, the more chance you've got two-putting on par, basically. So if we can get you hitting more fairways or as close to fairways as possible, then your green success will also go up at the same time. Big thing here is 46% short. So that's either underclubbing or it's that loft aspect. Because you're producing so much loft, it's just ballooning in the air. And this is a thing I had. If people who've watched this channel think back to when I had these lessons with Dan, it's exactly the same problem I had around this kind of level of handicap. So if we can get you getting the ball going more forward, especially into wind, because then your 150 yard shot is it's just going to balloon up and go 100 yards, and that's where the short's coming from. 26% greens is not bad, and strokes gained to a 15 handicapper again is 2.73, but we're going to try and target 10, for example, and you're losing 2 shots. So the difference there is we need to gain you effectively 2 or 3 shots by approach play. Go on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, that variability on the irons, and particularly, you know, if I'm trying to rescue myself out of crap left or right, it really does make a huge difference.
I think what I noticed with that assessment was you go at everything. I know what people are going to say in this, like, but so do you, Lee. But you don't have an alternate shot. It's that's my yardage, that's what I'm doing, and I'm going at it every time. So one thing we will work on is giving you half shots, maybe into wind punchier shots and things like that. Short game, to a 10 handicap, you're losing 2.37 shots again. So we need to gain you about 2 shots per aspect of your game. 2 shots driving, 2 shots approach, 2 shots on short play. Okay, proximity by distance and lie type. Again, if we look at fairway from within 25 yards, it's 7 feet. It doubles when you go into the rough, and then it's bonkers. It's a completely different lesson. And then 25 to 50 yards is pretty similar. And I think looking at what we did in that assessment is you've not got a shot for yardage. You're trying feeling your way around the greens.
Definitely.
Where having, and we'll do a wedge matrix, and I think we'll do that in the next video, where having that aspect of like a clock system, it doesn't always work, you know, because you might get a flyer, it might be a bit of water on the ball, but having that clock system will help you at least be able to feel distances instead of like having a system in place where you can go.
Having a known distance rather than trying to guess it.
So if you've got 50 yards, you know it's here. Yeah. And if you hit it correctly, it's going to get there, or at least get on the green. And we need to try and get that proximity by distance tightened a little bit, especially from 25 to 50 yards. 25 feet is a long way to be having a, you know, this is where you want to be scoring. Or effectively, if you're 25 to 50, it's that ballooned approach shot, which has left you 50 yards short. Now you've got a chip on. You want to try and up and down as much as possible. This is a definite bogey at the moment, which is why you're an 18 handicap. It's bogey golf. Let's have a quick look at your putting. We've not really looked at that. 56% miss short, strokes gained, so 2 shots putting. So if we look at, you're an 18, we want to try and get you to 10 if we can. So you need to improve 2 shots driving, 2 shots approach, 2 shots short game, and 2 shots in your putting. And I think that's where we will be able to get you out. get you improving a little bit. So yeah, really interesting for people who have shot scope, the amount of data that it shows you, and it can give you areas to work on. So now you've seen those aspects in Miles's game now, be interesting to see what these stats say in 6 months' time, to see if we've improved on that strokes gained. Effectively, it's 2.3 to a 10 handicap on every aspect.
Yeah, and it's how I use it as well, because I pretty much used that. When I got the watch, it was a GPS watch, and I used it to know my yardages. Yeah. And that was it. I hadn't got into any level of detail like that. And it, obviously there's a huge amount I can learn from that.
Yeah, the thing with shot scope is it's so good at giving you data, but you need to know what that data means. So throughout this series, we're going to go through every aspect and try and improve on that data. But a lot of it relies on you making sure after you've put your round, you've connected your band and you've downloaded it, that you make sure that round's correct. Otherwise, the data is not accurate and it's really difficult for us to work with. Yeah, so that's effectively what a 30-minute assessment would be with me without the shot scope, because obviously this is a data-driven aspect. But if you want to win a shot scope V3 that Miles has got now, which is a lovely little GPS watch on for the wrist, and what that does is it gives you distances to the back, the front of the green and the middle, and also tells you where hazards are as well if you click through it. And then you also get on the end of each club a little like sensor, and as soon as you pull that sensor in your left hand, because you have to wear the wrist on your left hand, as soon as you put that in, the watch will recognise the club, and then you just swing. You don't have to tap it or anything like that. It's just a natural process. You don't even have to remember it's there, but then you do have to go back through and just make sure everything's correct at the end of the game. All you need to do to be in with a chance to win a ShotScope V3 is you need to be a subscriber of this channel. You need to comment down below what handicap you think Miles will be at the end of 6 months, okay? I'm not going to pick the winner or the one who gets it right. It's just I want you to comment down below, and I will, in fact, Miles will pick a comment that he thinks he will get to, and that person will win it. So whatever Miles thinks he can get to, he will pick the comment that corresponds with that handicap, and that person will win a V3 and will be announced in the next video that will be coming out towards the end of this month. You also have to be following ShotScope on Twitter and or Instagram. So I'll put their links down in the bottom, and also be following me on Twitter and or Instagram as well. The links for that will also be at the bottom. So definitely an opportunity to win a V3. It is a great system. I've started using it recently, and my coaching videos that I do on myself will be data driven by ShotScope as well. But Miles, thanks so much for coming down.
Thank you.
Hopefully the next lesson can give you something to work on, and then let's go for, what do you think? In fact, don't tell us. He thinks he's going to get to single figures. I think he's off his head. But comment down below what you think, and you'll be in with a chance to win a V3. As always, thanks very much for watching. Do like the video, and I'll see you all on the next video.